7 seconds.
Hello and welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, issue number 4.
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready to explore the world of comics, past, present, and future, with our panelists Eric Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall. And now here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to issue number 4 of Comic Book Spectrum. And we're glad to have you here. It's the March 18th, 2021 edition. And we've got all kinds of cool stuff happening tonight. And thank you to Amy Hale and Brian Rodman for sharing this video. Much appreciated. Please share this video if you get a chance. And I think you should. I think you'll get a chance before we're over here. But anyway, thank you all for watching here. And thank you very much to PlasmaFireGraphics.com. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to your people, well, it matters to them, so it should matter to you. If you want a sweet trailer for your comic or your paperback or any graphics that will help you sell that stuff, as well as designing the cover itself, check PlasmaFireGraphics.com. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. And check them out on Facebook, too, and give them a like. Speaking of which, please, if you're watching us on the rerun, we appreciate you so much. If you're watching us live, thank you for being here. We'll get to your comments in a few minutes. We've got some business to take care of first. We are powered by the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Take a screenshot of this. We got you covered 7 days a week. And following this show is Amy Hale and John Hale on Creative as Hale, obviously. That's going to be at 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Central Time. And check them out. Lord help them. They will have Christian Basil, the legend himself, the man from the legend of the traveling TARDIS. So please tune in tonight. That promises to be a catastrophically lively show. That's going to be a lot of fun. Christian's great. Amy's got her hands full, and John's just going to shake his head and wonder what's going on. But please check out what we've got going here. We've got all kinds of great shows 7 days a week on a variety of topics, and please check them all out. And also check out our page on Facebook, the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. We hope you enjoy what you hear. And also a couple of programming notes. One is Stupid O'Clock will not be on tonight because Joe Dog McKeel is not feeling very well. He got the My Sharona Miley Cyrus injection today. So he's taking the night off. Get well fast, Joe Dog. And tomorrow, Drinking with the Davies will also not be on. But Ted Davies will resume regular programming next week. But we do have the Historical Fencing Guild tomorrow at 8 p.m. Never mind the Furthermore tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And, of course, at 7 p.m., Michaela Jade's Tidbits and Scribbles. So please check that all out. And also, thank you to our Patreon subscribers you see there. For $1 a month, you can get something like your name mentioned in every broadcast we do. And also peeks at our special weekly blog and works in progress, all kinds of cool stuff. So please check us out on www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And I think that's all the stuff I have for here. So let's unmute these wonderful people, because we've got some comic book reviews to execute here. And we're going to go around the room first, and we're going to introduce ourselves. Let's everybody start playing the music now. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to start with Clyde, and we're going to go around the room and let the Rockettes here introduce themselves one at a time. Clyde, you're up first.
Hi, I'm Clyde Hall. I'm a longtime comic book fan and also an elder statesman of assorted geekery. I'm a contributing writer at Stormgate Press, and one of my First published stories on B-Man is in Pulp Reality #1 from Stormgate Press. I'm an award-winning audio drama writer, and I've been a comic book reviewer and contributing staff member at the online site doomrocket.com.
Most excellent. Thank you, Clyde. And up next is not just any Eric Hawkins, but the Eric Hawkins.
Well, hello there. I'm Eric Scott Hawkins, the creator of the Zombieful World of Oz. I'm an independent comic book creator and writer, penciler, inker, colorist, letterer. I do it all. And that is me.
Excellent. And now here is the one of the dastardly dingoes himself, the suave and debonair Mr. Brian Rodman.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you this evening? My name is Brian Rodman. I like long walks on the beach, a nice glass of warm Chianti and fava beans. No, I am Brian Rodman, the writer and illustrator of the horror fantasy comic book series Memoirs of an Angel. Issue 7 is in its final 7 days on Kickstarter. So if you want it, you know you want it. Go get it. The link is right here. So, and this issue is wonderful. I'm also, like Brian said, 1/3 of the Dastardly Dingoes. And I want to give a shout out to my dingoes. This week has been huge for us. We just reached over 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. And thank you. I've done nothing. But Jeremy
Well, we knew
Woodring,
that.
yeah. Jeremy Woodring is a wonderful producer. He has made the magic happen, and thank you all for subscribing. This has just been a great week, and we're still growing boys on YouTube. So go check us out on YouTube, and that's all for me. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Brian. And I'm Brian K. Morris, the ringleader around here, I guess. I am an independent publisher of comics and novels, also a freelance hybrid author, award-winning playwright, Facebook famous YouTuber, and former mortician's assistant. And I, too, am in Pulp Reality #1, which is up right now for an award. At the Windy City Pulp and Paper convention that will be happening this September, I believe. And we are up for Best Anthology and Best Cover. Isn't that beautiful? Yes, it is. So please check my page and also Stormgate Press's page, Charles F. Millhouse, and you'll find a link to the polling area. And now, having said all that, let us... What?
The polling area?
The polling area. Yes.
You know, it's in the red district.
Yeah, it's a place with polls. Anyway, which is why
Brian, really quick, can people vote more than once?
No.
Oh, sad.
Unless
Okay.
I would not advise such chicanery unless you contact me privately, because I may have a way to do it. But anyway,
I was going to say, can we Captain Kirk this mother? That's all I want to know.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I speak
Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah, I speak Kobayashi Maru fluently. So anyway, let's start out as we always do, welcoming our people in the comments here. And we have, oh my goodness, we are behind already. And hello, Trevor Hawkins, good to see you. Carl Witzman, always a pleasure, sir. And Carleen, mwah, glad to see you here. And everyone, and Melly Keefe, my Melly monster, mwah. Melly, how you doing? Glad to see you, hon. It's a beautiful friend of mine. And Cindy Kemp, here I am to save the day. And everyone's saying hello. And Russell Allen, good to see you. And Teresa Dunn, mwah, glad to have you here as always. And greetings programs from Brian Hawkins and Christian Illusionist Jake and the event. Okay, excellent. Thank you, Christian. That is good news. And Michaela Jade, mwah, check her out at 7 p.m. Friday evenings and stuck at work for 2 hours, but you can still back his Xenonite Titan campaign. And we'll be waiting for you, Russell. And Steph Wilson, good to see you. Hello. Mwah. Hope you're having a great evening. And Bill Sarton, welcome, cool comic comrades. So, Brian, there's the Nevermorians and Pandarians. What do you call those who watch the show? Maybe the Spectarians? I think they're spectacular. That's what I call them. But anyway, I'll be running for office next week, and and the sequin coat, the fez and the bow tie and those sideburns should be enough. Ted Davies, good evening to you, my friend. Hope you're doing well, brother. And now we are caught up, and please share your comments with us because we're going to launch into the reviews of stuff that has come out within the last month. And I have to say for myself, this was pretty tough because last week I had like one book, and then I went in this week and I want to review everything, but we'll only we'll keep it to one. So I recognize that I have started in the past with Clyde, and we've started with Brian, but we've not started with Eric yet.
Sure, why not?
I can't think of a reason. Eric, what do you have for our delight this week?
What was it?
Thank you,
Was it
Eric.
my new AC/DC pop? No. I picked up this book, Berserker by Keanu Reeves, Matt Kent, Ron Garney, and Bill Crabtree. Now, this is 2 weeks old. It came out 2 weeks ago, and I just read on their website it's sold out, and they're going into a second printing. Now, some of you that follow crowdfunding, they crowdfunded not this particular book, but a volume of these books, 3 volumes, 3 graphic novels, set to come out September 2021 through sometime in 2022. There'll be a collection of all these that come out. And that had 14,000 backers and raised $1.4 million. Basically all on the name of Keanu Reeves. So the book is actually pretty good. I liked it. The art by Ron Garney is always good, so there's no complaints there whatsoever. The story is good. I would say great. It's his first issue, so it's leading up to stuff. So you are not going to see a lot of dialogue in the first few pages or first half of the book. There isn't much. I mean, there's a little bit per panel, but that's about it, really. But there's a lot of action in it, and I would not recommend this to kids. It's kind of bloody. There's noses being shot off, faces getting burned up, people dying. But the story is basically about him. He's basically immortal. He's lived for thousands of years, and one of the end pages, you see him being born and suckling his mother's teat, which is kind of a weird panel to see. Because there was blood on that too. But he longs to want to not die, but just to be able to die. And he can't die because he regenerates himself. So this is set in modern times now, though. So he's working for some kind of secret government agency, it appears to be, which they're trying to help him with his wish to be able to die by testing him and taking samples from him every time they go on a secret mission, and he gets all shot up, pieces blown off while he's regenerating, so they can create a clone army of him, basically. The writing's good. I don't know how much Keanu actually did versus Matt Kent, but it was good. I had no complaints about it. I mean, it moved along fairly well. It was good pacing. The story is it's good. I mean, nothing bad about it. I'd like more to it in the beginning because there wasn't much to read. It was just page. There's one sentence, another sentence, page. But it picks up quite a bit in the end. There's a lot more dialogue in that, and then a couple of flashbacks. I will continue to pick this up because I did like it. And I would give it, as a first issue, probably I'd go 7 out of 10 because I'd like to see where it goes after this. See if the writing gets a little more, not better, but just more of it in the book is what I'd like to see. But, if you want to go get it, check your local comic shop, see if they still have it. Like I said, it's supposedly sold out, and they're going into a second printing, which will have a variant cover instead of the regular cover. So that's kind of cool, too. So go check it out. And that's my quick review of Berserker.
Beautiful.
Minus the vowels.
Exactly.
Spelling is hard.
Yeah, this is from, this is involving an actor who's...
I feel like that's
okay, I do have that complaint. There's no vowels.
That's how we have to say it now.
Yeah, there should be apostrophes between each letter.
Berserker, dude.
You know, only the guy from the old Micro Machines should be able to pronounce that title. But no, I'm glad it sounds interesting. If just a little bit word light. I'm having flashbacks to that old G.I. Joe silent issue now.
That is one of my favorite issues of G.I. Joe.
Mine too.
And I will reveal my tattoo as well, just as Snake Eyes and Stormshadow did.
Hold on here. Hold on. Let me get you full screen again. Show it off.
Yeah.
Show it off.
Push it up close to the screen.
Oh, yeah.
There
Nice.
Ooh,
Nice ink, brother.
That was a 40th birthday present,
Oh, cool.
which
Very
is almost 10 years ago now.
I would have said you weren't even close to that, sir.
Well, it's the beard. It's usually gray, but since Halloween, I've been dyeing it.
Oh, is that it?
Well, I'll tell you real quick. I dressed up steampunk for a Halloween party we went to. We actually went to a family Halloween party with people.
What?
So I wanted to grow out my beard. I was going to do the little handlebar, but I couldn't get it long enough that quickly. But I said, well, I'll just color it. And Jennifer, my wife, has said, if you ever color that, I'm going to shave it off in your sleep. Because it's been white since my 30s.
Right.
So I colored it, and she goes, I kind of like that. So I've kept it colored ever since then.
That's pretty
I
cool.
freshly colored it today.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Just for us.
You gotta please the lady, my friend.
Exactly.
That's
Oh,
all.
yeah.
That's all. it
Happy
comes down
wife,
to.
happy life.
Indeed.
Exactly. And a longer life, too. Trust me. Because my wife probably killed a man in Reno just to watch him die. Comic Talk with Bob Van Zandt. Good evening to you, my friend Shaggy. Courtney's up with you, brother. Glad to have you here. And Bill Sargent says Eric Hawkins. You said that Barker is immortal. It's about Keith Richards, isn't it?
that. Yeah, it's actually Keith Richards. He's writing under the name Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Ah, that's it. Yeah.
It's his life story. So he'll continue to be in a band in a few years.
There we go. So stay tuned for next issue. I can't get no. Anyway, so who's Clyde? Do you want to go next?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Clyde Hall with a great book for your consideration.
All right. So my book this week is Scouts Honor number 3. This is Aftershock Comics, cover price $3.99, written by David Pepose, art by Luca Casalanguida, colors by Matt Milla, letters by Carlos M. Mangual, maturity level 15+. Now, this is a post-apocalyptic series from Aftershock. And I know what you're going to say, but Clyde, wait a minute. Didn't you cover a post-apocalyptic series from Aftershock 2 weeks ago? Yes, I did. And it wasn't this one. But that gives you an idea of just how prevalent the genre is right now, alongside dystopian fiction. Ever since Rick Grimes woke up in a zombified world, the market has seen a downpouring of dystopia and an affluence of apocalypse. Some good, some less good. Scouts Honor is not good. It's exceptional. A new series, Rising, is a hybrid of both of those popular genres, and it's an exercise in clever, well-paced storytelling. David Pepose keeps the focus sharp and the details svelte in this end-of-the-world building exercise. There's been a devastating nuclear war. The highs, the lows, the whys, the wherefores, we are not yet into that at all because the people that are surviving it, they don't care. It's 26 years before a group emerges from an underground complex in Fort Collins, Colorado. They find the surface world irradiated but inhabitable. And these survivors build a new society using precepts from an old Ranger Scouts manual authored by their true prophet, Dr. Jefferson Hancock. Events in the series then take place 260 years after the Ranger Scouts of America have reclaimed their home using their 7 laws and the eternal motto, always be prepared. Now, here's a warning. There is in almost every issue of Scouts Honor big reveals. And so there are going to be some spoilers in issues 1 and 2 and reviewing number 3. Ranger rules include things like a scout's duty is to protect others. A scout is forged in brotherhood beyond our sisters and wives. A scout obeys his scoutmaster without question. Followed diligently by young men in taming the Colorado Badlands, The laws are foundations for our plucky pillboxers' survival among mutated animal life and pillaging ravagers descended from other survivors. Our hero is a model up-and-coming scout. Kid is tough and he's strong and he's smart, and his bestie, Dez, lives in his shadow. And that's a tough place for Dez because he's the son of their scoutmaster and he's expected to do well. Well, both are destined for the Eagles Guild via a trial by combat reserved for only the most promising candidates. Only one scout a year from each troop manages to attain guild membership. Issue number 3 sees Kit and Dez fighting for that honor. They also battle some murder hornets the size of buses, which gives you an idea that, Propose's Scouts world is not for the weak. We've been shown young rangers undertaking missions while their scoutmasters assign tasks, bestow badges, and honor the fallen. Just for reference, future merit badges still include standbys like archery, but they also have some helpful skills like explosives and underwater infiltration. So we've yet to see many non-scouts besides Kit's father, who's a scientist in a support role for the scouts. This may be a drawback for some because the stories are told from the scouts' all-male ranks. Mostly. Because there's one major exception that hopefully will lead us into exploring more of the female roles in the future. Propose's reveals expose shortcomings in the Ranger organization. Number 3 is a big one. The regime ensuring peace has some dirty little secrets that are as dangerous as any mutant animal or brigand. In earlier issues, Kit recovered a drone from the before times, and this issue he's using it to expand his knowledge. It's knowledge that he's concealing from his scoutmaster, which is a no-no, and by the end of the issue, Kit proves his mettle as a scout, but he's also a threat to his superior, which is never a good place to be in the Ranger Scouts. Propose presents dual battlefronts, heating up for our protagonist number 3. The competition within the scouting ranks is harrowing as the Badlands themselves. Balance that against the growing secret of the Kit's maintaining, and you can appreciate the slow narrative suspense build here. Luca Castellanguida carves a world of harsh reality met with grim resolve, and that's reflected in the haunted stares of young scouts with faces too young to see what they've seen. His art, it rings pathos from perpetual mind-numbing conflicts with nightmarish fauna and with human foes trying to stay alive. Matt Milla keeps his palette drab and worn. It's occupied by deep shadow and neutral tones and oppressed colors. The rusting frames of once sporty, vibrant vehicles are faded, just like the memories of those in this world. In Quiet Pages, Carlos Mangual perfectly balances dialogue with imagery. At the same time, his words lead the reader's eye across irregular panel shapes and layouts very smoothly, preserving the action flow and conversation. It's a very deft and subdued lettering feat that he's accomplished. So there's a profusion of dystopian and post-apocalyptic fiction right now, but Scouts Honor's creative team sets this title apart from others with a shared vision, and their work comes together like a precision pit stop crew, making each of their systems combine into a perfectly tuned racing machine. Take these first 3 issues around the track, and I think they'll be doing victory laps. So I'm going to be giving Scouts Honor number 3, and inclusively most of the series so far, my rating of 8.5 out of 10 this week.
Wow, that's pretty good. Excellent. And here we go. Carl Wisman says the Scout comic sounds interesting.
You know what is interesting? David Pepos just crowdfunded a Oz book last year.
I was going to ask you if you'd seen that.
I backed it. It's pretty good. I liked it.
Oh, cool.
The Hurt Locker meets Mad Max in Oz.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That was his pitch. I just love that.
Yeah.
Love it.
That is nice. I like that. That is cool. Because right now there is like a flurry of Oz books. And of course, there is only one. There is only one true Oz book.
And his made like $46,000.
Yeah.
Well, what's your excuse then? Come on. Next time you're on Game
I doubled my first book's funding.
That's true.
This one I'm expecting to triple it.
Excellent. Excellent. You got to have standards around here. So, and speaking of standards, they're high because we have this gentleman here. Brian Rodman, what are you proposing to our friends this week?
Brian, why'd you have to tell everybody I was high?
They'd have found it on their own.
I am going to be reviewing Brandon Sanderson's Dark One from Vault Comics. And this is actually, I believe it was released in graphic novel form, but it is just book one of the series. Brandon Sanderson is for those who don't know, is a very prestigious high fantasy novelist. Great world building, phenomenal books. He's written so many. Go check him out. He actually isn't the writer of this book. He just created it and is essentially came up with the story. It is written by Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly. And it's drawn by Nathan Gooden, colored by Kurt Michael Russell, and lettered by Andworld Design. The basic premise is really good. It's all about this this narrative is how they call it. So essentially, the book itself is about destiny, and it's about embracing who you are and who you were meant to be, for better or worse. And the first thing, when you open the book, the first thing you see is this beautiful map, which I am a sucker for maps, and it's really helpful. The whole time I found myself flipping back to it. Very, very helpful. It's a dual world story. So you have part of the story takes place in our world, where we follow a boy named Paul. He's a teenager, and he's really depressed, and he is actually we're not really sure at the beginning if he is hearing like voices, like a multiple personality type disorder, or if there really is just an imaginary friend from another world that is following him around and has his entire life, calling herself his sister. Paul is, kind of neglected by his mom. His dad's not in the picture at all. And meanwhile, we have her mom, who is a lawyer, and she defends some of the worst criminals that come out of the woodwork. And she prides herself on actually, getting them off. Let me finish. Hold on now.
Christian.
What kind of lawyer business is this? No, she's very good at clearing their name, and preventing things from going to trial and whatnot. Very, very good at her job, but not the best folks to be doing that for. Her boss has, at the beginning of this story, instructed her to. They have caught a serial killer, and he is now her client, and she is really going to try to dismiss the charges if possible. But the problem is her partners, the partners of the firm, including her boss, who's instructing her to take this case, is telling her that they want a plea deal. That the serial killer wants one as well. So to say all of that, her boss then enters into this realm through a mirror. And we find out that he is the knight of the kingdom of light. And the entire story is summed up in a 2-page spread that I'm actually going to read for you guys. So it's story time with Brian. And this is no spoilers. It's just really just helps you understand the world that you're entering into here. And it says, the Destined One is the narrative's champion in each generation. Although the Chronicle King rules the kingdoms of light and serves as voice to the narrative, he is bound to Mirandus' soil. Mirandus is the kingdom, is this fantasy world. And the Destined One is a great hero, righteous in word, deed, and heart. They can reach the worlds beyond, but are bound to Miranda's very soul. Their magic is not a weapon, no paltry trick or distraction. It is to weave the world in their favor. The narrative writes itself, but the Destined One may edit those words to aid the light. And they must wield this power wisely, for though they are destined to lead Mirandus into a world of pure light, they are always opposed by the Dark One. And that is what the the book is about. A horrible monster of the Blackened Lands, twisted and evil from birth, the Dark One rises to rule those without souls and prepare their attempts at conquest. His power is fed by a sacred well in their horrid city, the place known as Pitch. Once in each generation, those lands rise in darkness and lay siege to the light with a power we cannot hope to match. For the Dark One's magic is to unwrite that which is made sacred by the narrative, life itself. They can pull the souls from those still living and imbue their weapons and devices with that energy. It is said that the souls trapped by the Dark One live forever in their final emotions, an endless echo of their pain. And that really sums up just the constant cycle that this narrative is constantly bringing forth the dark power and the light power to meet it, and they're constantly in war with each other. And Paul, the character that the teenager, who's dealing with depression and has this weird, disorder character that's with him, finds himself thrown into the middle of it, and he has to decide what he is destined to become versus what he wants to become. And I think that it's something that we can all relate to. It's something that really just absolutely, I was able to relate to in personal ways, just in finding out who you are, especially at that age. I think he's 19 in the book, if I remember correctly. And it's just right at that age where you don't know who you are really yet, and you're trying to figure it all out. And it takes that struggle that we all go through multiple times in our life and puts it in a high fantasy realm with just a spectacular story. The artwork is beautiful. So are the colors. I mean, even just the practical panels. If you take a look at that, that's just, you go from that, which is just mostly conversation driven, to big epic pages, such as this. I mean, just, a big 2-page spreads. There's plenty of 2-page spreads in here. The artwork is fantastic. If you've ever read Birthright, that from Image Comics, it's similar to that, actually. It's very, very similar. I told my wife last night, or 2 nights ago, when I was reading it, I stopped, I put the book down, and I was like, I feel like I'm reading Birthright, but just in reverse. So if you're familiar with that story, you know what I mean. But I highly recommend getting this book. Right now it's online, or you can order it at your local comic book shop. From Vault Comics. Book 1 is out. I don't know if they have announced book 2 yet. I know it's in the works. So I just know it isn't out yet. But definitely jump in. This is, oh goodness, I want to say this is, 200 pages easy. And I would give it an 8 out of 10. It is a solid story, great world building. And I feel like by the end of the series, once it's all over, I may even be giving it a 9.5 or 10 out of 10. I think it's headed in a great direction. So definitely go pick it up.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Brian. That does sound good. You guys are going to make me go broke. Anyway, Willow Schuyler says, sneaking in here to break on her break, say hi to everyone. Willow's been at work all day, so please send her some love and check out Willow's Pillow Talk on the weekends. And Kathy Jackson, glad to see you. Check out Kathy Jackson's books on Facebook. Books are things like comics, but they don't have like pictures in them. So anyway,
we don't do that.
What's
here,
that mean?
It means your lips get tired faster. And Night Court just got racy. Oh, cool. And Bill Sargent says, I still say that Brian Rodman sounds like a young Tom Hanks.
I would like to add to that.
Okay.
I don't think it's Tom Hanks.
Okay.
I think it's Kevin Smith.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I can't tell you how many times I've been compared to this man. Like, I'm as big as he used to be, right? And like when my beard, especially when my beard used to be a lot shorter, I used to wear backwards hats and hoodies and no, not Silent Bob. There's a difference there. I'm too loud.
Only on weekends.
So yeah, indeed. No, but no, I can't tell you how many times that I have just that. It's like you remind me a lot of Kevin Smith. Someone bought my book at a Comic-Con because of that.
I've thought that for a couple of weeks. I'm going, Hey, son, just like Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for him to start crying during a review.
That's later when we talk about the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. And the only person I've ever been compared to, don't. Okay, anyway, there's mine. And Amy Hale. Mwah, hello, everyone. Hello, Amy Hale. Amy is going to follow this show at 8 p.m. She and her husband, John, are going to be interviewing the one and only legendary Christian Basil. That is going to be a great, great show, and may God have mercy on your soul, Amy.
Domine Patriot Felix Pizza Hunter.
Yeah, Domino, your pizza. But anyway, check out Amy's show, Creative as Hale, also on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. And now here's my review. This was it's kind of funny because I toyed with the idea of this being an all review show but last week I only found one comic that I really, really thought was worth sharing. This week I found 3 more. So we'll probably be talking about them later. But I definitely want to give a shout out to Superman from DC Comics, issue number 29. This book has been written by Brian Michael Bendis for the last 2.5, or actually about almost 3 years now. Brian Michael Bendis was a top writer at Marvel Comics, and probably his coming over to DC was treated with the same kind of hoopla that you saw Jack Kirby's greet in 1970, way back when. And he's done a lot of work for DC and has continued to work for them, including some preludes to the Justice League Snyder Cut that we'll be talking about later. But anyway, Superman has a brand new writer on it. His name is Philip Kennedy Johnson. And I have to say one thing, that he gets it. He gets what Superman is about, not just as a superpowered character, but one who's a family man and also a symbol of inspiration to many, many people. The artwork is by Phil Hester. And you've probably seen his work at Marvel and DC. He drew Green Arrow for a long, long time, including the issues written by Brian Rodman. I mean, Kevin Smith. It's a decent story, and the inking is Eric Gapster. Hi-Fi is colorist, Dave Sharp letter, and it's a solid book. It's pretty plot light. Creatures are coming through a rift in space, and it's endangering a space station out there. Superman and his son, who is temporarily taking a leave from the Legion of Superheroes in the 31st century, is come back to help Dad with this problem that it turns out it's engineered by Amanda Waller of Task Force X / Suicide Squad. And the problem is, son has come back to this period for one reason. He knows his father's history. He knows when his father will die. He wants to be there when it happens. There's a lot of intrigue in this book. It's got, like I said, it's a little plot light. There's a lot of fight scenes, but Phil Hester is a terrific artist, in my opinion. Tells the story well. And he's got a lot to, and also I'll get to the review of the writing in a moment. And there's a backup story with Bibbo Bibowski and Jimmy Olsen. Tales of Metropolis by Sean Lewis is the writer, Sammy Basri, artist, Ulysses Ariola, colorist, Dave Sharp letter, Diego Lopez, associate editor, Jamie S. Rich, editor. And it's a tale. It's the first part of a multi-issue tale about Bibbo Bibowski, who runs a bar in Suicide Slum, and Jimmy Olsen, who now is the owner of the Daily Planet. We'll talk about that later. We'll discuss that later. But anyway, it's a decent story. Sean Lewis wrote the future state Superman Metropolis, which was anyway, we'll move past that. But anyway, this Philip Kennedy Johnson is a terrific writer. He understands Superman very well. And there's some more moments in this that we haven't seen since Peter J. Tomasi's 3-year run on The Man of Steel. It's very enjoyable, and I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 myself. I'm really looking forward to future issues. It's a spinoff of the Infinite Frontier book, and while you're out there, I definitely want to give a quick shout out to Superman Red and Blue. It's like Batman Black and White, except the colors in here. Well, it's all about Superman for one thing, but there's only 2 colors in here. Red and blue, and they use it as part of the storytelling. If we have maybe next week, I'll flip a coin and we'll see if we talk about that instead of the other books that I got. But anyway, it's a solid storytelling, and I think it's worthy of any super fans library. Yes,
I got a question.
Yes,
Why
sir.
is Wolverine dressed up as Superman on the cover?
Yeah. Well, you mean this one?
The hair.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, this is John. You know, kids and their crazy hairdos. You know, he forgot to moose that day. You know, and when you're out there battling, when you're battling extraterrestrial aliens, hair care is very important, kids.
Maybe
Remember
it's Maybelline.
Yeah, he's doing that Charlie's Angels thing where he
Yeah.
shakes his head. You know, and his hair starts flowing like waves. Yeah,
Brian knows all about that.
Brian, did you read the Matt Fraction, Jimmy Olsen, Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen series from last year?
Yes, I did.
I
And
really love that. I love
I have to say that, you know, we have a policy here on this show that if you can't say anything nice about a comic, don't say anything at all. Anyway, no, I liked issue 12. It was the other 11. It was just a little. I'm going to sit down and read it all in one stretch. I think maybe that's where I went wrong, but I can't say it was the best thing. Although I did like the spin-off issue that Matt Fraction and Steve Lieber did for, I think it was the villain special, where after Superman revealed his true identity to everyone on Earth. Yeah, see, folks, if you haven't been reading Superman for the last 3 years, you've missed quite a bit. And it was hilarious because, and I'll spoil it, because there's other stuff in that issue worth reading, but it consisted of Lex Luthor. He had 97 messages on his phone after the big reveal, and all of them were laughter. And like the Joker might, leave a message after he laughs. I was like, you fought him how many times and you never figured it out. So yeah, that's not one of my favorite issues.
Those glasses really do hide your identity.
Where'd Eric go? Hey, you bring Eric back.
I know what you mean. I've been practicing this a lot, In fact, to give you an idea of how much that glasses have permeated the culture, I was in a cosplay contest at Gen Con a number of years ago, and my wife Cookie had made a Victorian tuxedo in Superman colors. And I even had like the insignia on the opera cape and everything. And I walk out there and everybody's like, what the hell is this? And we introduced it as the Smallville collection of that year. And I stopped in the middle of the stage and I just went, and everybody, so, instant recognition. So
Nice.
And let's see here. We've got some other comments here, and yeah, Brian Hawkins says you sound like him too. And now it becomes a source of ridicule for Mr. Rodman here. Anyway,
hey, I love Kevin Smith. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, and I get compared to Homer Simpson, so yeah, I think you won that one. And from the desk of a small press publisher, check out his YouTube channel, especially on Saturday night at 10 p.m. Great interviews. Joe D. McPhee, glad to see you, sir. And Russ, I'm glad to see you here for comic book black belt himself. Evening to you, my friend. Hope you are doing well. And Brian Hawkins, a backup story with the Big Lebowski and Jimmy Olsen. That sounds interesting. It's actually quite a good story. It really was. I
thought it was Bilbo Baggins.
Bilbo Baggins, yes. This is the one where Bilbo Bavowski gets this ring, and John Constantine escorts him into Suicide Slum to get it melted down and hawk it. So anyway, Brian Michael Bendis says the best thing that's happened to DC, says Bill Sarton, in quite a while. Marvel constantly lets great talent slip through their fingers. I just don't get their logic with this. I heard today that Marvel has turned Captain America gay. I think that they're really grasping straws anymore. Bill, they have not turned Steve Rogers gay.
No, it's a
different person.
He looks like a bum. He looks like he should have the little stick in his sack. I mean, it looks like he just jumped off a train in his overalls and his trash can lid.
It's going to be the
But it's
easiest
not Steve
cosplay.
Rogers, no.
Yeah. Steve Rogers is still as he was. And it's just an attempted representation here. But talent flows back through Marvel and DC and the independents constantly.
It sounds like it's a hard traveling heroes kind of thing that Captain America and his friends are doing across America and meeting these other Captain Americas, people that have stepped up to like defend their communities under that general name, and that's one of the guys, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of like the real life superheroes that we saw about 5 years ago in a lot of major cities.
Mm-hmm.
But Bendis is still working at DC, and some of the stuff he's done, I've really enjoyed, like the Wonder Comics work that he's done, like Young Justice, and of course, which one?
Dial H for Hero.
Dial H for Hero. That's right. That was terrific too. That was
and
great.
Also Wonder Twins. Wonder Twins that was a fun read.
I agree. Those were really good. And he's created like a new character, Ginny Hex, who's like the great granddaughter of Jonah Hex. Mm-hmm. That's been really interesting too. His Legion of Superheroes. Moving on. But anyway, because that's subtle enough. Anyway, yes, Russ remembers hair too, just like I do. And the Historical Fencing Guild, Friday evening on YouTube. Check it out. It's armed combat made safe. Usually, anyway, Amanda Waller is one of the all-time best and instantly hateable characters in comics. She is an avatar of necessary evil. Mark Russell wrote something in the Infinite Frontier special Zero a few weeks ago with Amanda Waller and Perry White. That's worth the whole price of the book. It is great. And he's an 80 kid, a 2080s kid. That's it. And Cindy Cap, thank you for the comment. We are all wearing hats. We are men with hats, unlike a certain rock group. And Ted Davies says, thanks, guys, for making me feel a bit better today. Much success to you all. Hey, Ted. Much love to you, brother. Yeah. Seriously. And Ken Bailey. Ken Bailey is an artist and writer of various comic books, small press comics. Glad to see you here. Good thing you only fingered one side of your glasses. Fingering both sides means that you're just about to use your heat vision. I've been told by Pa I've got to look out for that stuff. So yeah, I'm trying not to touch my glasses anymore, and I need to. So anyway, keep those great comments coming, people. And speaking of something that's been coming today, something was unleashed on the general public today on the airwaves, I think, and we may have a point counterpoint kind of thing here. I have not seen it, so I'll just referee the fight here for the next 10 minutes. Now, Clyde, did you see the thing here?
I got to watch the Snyder Cut today. Yes.
Okay. Yes, folks, we are talking about the Justice League Snyder Cut has just.
I saw about the first hour.
Okay, so well, that's an hour more than I've seen of it, so that's all right.
Same scene, just it was an hour long, just screaming, echoing through the universe.
There you go. John Celestri, animator friend, good to see you. Superhero regional franchises like Fast Food Captain America, Bob's Big Boy Burgers. There you go. Or if you want to get technical, it's like Batman Incorporated, but with an informal franchise. So anyway, Brian is apparently still in the afterglow. Eric is so who? Let's let Brian say how. And we are reminded. Hope you come back soon, Joe. Hope you have a great night, my friend. And remember spoilers. So
we're doing spoilers.
I say
I don't want
spoiler
to. This is day one. Yeah,
it's day one. Spoiler
this
free.
This just dropped today. Yeah. No, I've got a perfect. Oh goodness. Okay, let me compose myself here. All right. So here's the thing. If you don't like Snyder, if you're not a Zack Snyder fan, this movie might not be for you, and that's fine, right? Like it is. It's totally fine. Like because there are others like Wonder Woman 84 was not for me. I did not care for it. I really didn't like it. But other people really, really did, and they really resonated with it. All that said, if you didn't like Batman versus Superman, Justice League is not Batman versus Superman. And I would say that, okay, So I loved Man of Steel. I loved Batman versus Superman, especially the director's cut, because it's the actual movie. It doesn't cut out like an entire subplot that doesn't make the movie. It makes the movie not make any sense. Warner Brothers, I don't know what's wrong with you. And so then, I had been just, oh my gosh, stoked for Justice League after Batman versus Superman. I was like, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be great. And then it was terrible. What they released in theater was utter trash heap garbage on fire with a nuke about to just explode all of existence because it was so bad. And then, we had the years of fans harassing everyone in the world to get the Snyder Cut made, and it arrived today. And as a Snyder fan, it was fantastic. It was a great ride. The story made sense. There are a lot of things from the theatrical cut. Well, not a lot. There are some things from the theatrical cut that are still in it because that's what Snyder did originally. But in its proper context, 1,000 times better. So and then there are some things interwoven that are just completely cut out, which they needed to be. I'll tell you what really made me mad in the theatrical cut of Justice League. The first time you see Superman, the terrible job they did on his face. Well, the cell phone, opening. That kind of was like, what is this? All right, we'll just keep going. And then the Batman on the rooftop scene happened, and I was like, okay, all right. And then the thirsty reporter joke happened. And if you've seen the theatrical cut of Justice League, you know what I'm talking about. It was awful. It was in poor taste in the moment of the scene. It was just stupid. And then I was pissed off for the entire time. At no point in this 4-hour long, I don't want to call it a masterpiece. I feel like that really gives people like this is one of the best things. This is not, I would consider Lord of the Rings a masterpiece. This is not Lord of the Rings, but this is really freaking good. Like, I think what we see when we see this version of Justice League is we see Batman who was broken, bitter, angry, didn't give a crap about humanity anymore because he was fresh off losing Robin and just everything was awful. And then Superman dies at the end of Batman vs. Superman. And in this movie, you really see he is a changed man. Absolutely a changed man. And he is more like the Batman that isn't the Frank Miller's Batman. It's the normal Batman. And in many ways, I said this before the show. Christian Basil, Zack Snyder.
He gets in your head. That's
man. Christian Basil did not make this movie, believe it or not. Zack Snyder loves his, he loves his comparisons and his overtones of Christianity onto these movies. Superman, in his movies especially, have just been heavy. Superman is Jesus, heavily. And if in that same tone, Bruce Wayne is Saul turned to Paul. And you see that transformation in this movie, and it makes Batman versus Superman fit better and make more sense. And there's just some key moments. I mean, there's things that aren't spoilery. The nightmare sequence with the Joker, that whole scene is wonderful. And it's we've been told that it ends on a cliffhanger. Not really. It can end on a cliffhanger, or it can end at a different spot to make it a concise end to the trilogy that he made with Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and Justice League. So it's great. I loved it. I love it. I love Zack Snyder movies. So if you enjoyed any of Man of Steel or Batman versus Superman, you're really gonna like this.
All right. right, excellent. And I flashed on screen while you're on there. Cindy Kep says, "How do you really feel, Brian?"
Yeah.
And Glenn B. Fleming, have a pleasant sleep, sir. We will catch up you later if we can cut the mustard. Anyway, Brian Hawkins says, "I like Snyder sometimes, but not as DC stuff. Why did you say that name?"
Oh, the Martha scene. We don't have time for me to get into the Martha scene.
Yeah, I was telling everyone here though. My version of the Martha scene is when Bruce has that realization. Your name, that scene, about Martha and everything, and Superman's still quite upset with Batman. Would say, "My mother's name was Laura," and then fries him with his heat vision. Movie over. Everyone lives. So anyway, I know how Eric feels, and I think he'll be the one to close this now. Clyde, you saw it too, correct?
Yes.
All right, Clyde, what's your opinion of it?
It's not my favorite cinematic Superman, but it hasn't been, some of Snyder's work has been very good. The darker tones for DC and the more fun tones for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think it's nice that we have a choice. And this definitely addresses, something darker and more adult. And it does it very well, but it also cost enough money that I would expect some things from it, but it actually exceeded my expectations in a couple of ways. The added spotlight for Ezra Miller's Flash and Ray Fisher's Cyborg works very well for the story, and I was really happy to see that they got more of a spotlight. It really feels much more like a team, and I love what Brian said about the Saul to Paul, because that's dead on accurate for, if you look at it as a trilogy, that makes complete sense. It goes a little long in some scenes, I think. But I kind of think of it as a cautionary tale. If you're going to let a director have a big property like Justice League, if you're Warner, let them do it. Take the time, and don't rush it for some kind of a stock trade-off that caused them to make the theatrical release version, which is definitely a lesser version. So in the future, pick the people that have a vision for the character. It could be people besides Snyder. I think some of the other movies with other directors, it's good that it's not always Zack Snyder. So, pick wisely your directors. Let them have the time and the budget to do their vision. Don't spend all the money for a theatrical release and then go back and layer on $80 million more for to appease fandom and to give the director what you should have given him in the first place. So I look at it as kind of a cautionary tale for them business-wise. And I think that it is, I've seen people go, it's a superior version. Well, with the amount of time and money that was put onto it, it should be. And it succeeds with that. Kind of like a Stephen King novel, there's some really fine moments. A few of them go a little bit too long. It's a really good Stephen King story, but my gosh, 1,200 pages wouldn't necessarily wouldn't have to be that much. I'm glad that they had a chance to do it there, and so that fandom, especially for it may not be all my cup of tea, but you know what? That's fine, because look at what DC's doing with TV, with their properties on TV and other movies. Everybody, it's like a buffet. There's no need to starve to death or to be put out, because not everything is necessarily your perfect idea of what it should be. Because I've seen people that were reduced to tears from watching it. It looked like, in a good way, not in a bad way. And so, for them, it meant something very important. And I'm glad that they got, as fans, fellow comic book fans, I'm really glad that they got to see that. So, it's not my perfect idyllic Superman type of movie, but if you're going to compare team movies, I'll always like Avengers stuff better, probably cinematically, but it's a good alternative, and it was very well done.
All right,
I think comparing it to Stephen King is perfect, Clyde. There were moments that I would absolutely agree with you. They lasted too long, but I loved them. But in the moment, I was like, if you don't just absolutely adore everything that's coming out of this at this point in this scene, you're like, what are we doing here? So,
That's true. That's
yeah.
true.
But you can
Yeah.
say the same with the extended cuts of Lord of the Rings sometimes too.
Right. That's true.
Yeah, and just to clarify one point, Zack Snyder didn't get to finish it because he had his daughter committed suicide, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So that's when they called in Joss Whedon to basically, it sounds like completely redo the film except for a couple of shots.
Yeah.
There was some stock. Some kind of stock was maturing also, and they wanted this big hit. They wanted something. They wanted to change the tone, make it lighter, so that these people could cash in.
Yeah.
Executives could cash in. And that's what I mean. They should have waited.
It was a pure business move by the execs. They all wanted bonuses, and that's why we got what we got.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. And now Eric Hawkins, who has seen the first hour of it, correct?
The first hour, yes. And I guess it was about the first hour, yeah.
Okay, now you represent fandom. Having seen the first hour, you have already seen more of the movie than probably a lot of people on the internet commenting on it. So you are so qualified now. Seriously, I want to hear what you have to say about that first hour.
First off, we'll say my opinion is Zack Snyder. I loved 300. I loved Watchmen. I feel he works better off a pre-existing storyboard from a comic. I think that's what made those two movies so well. He went directly off the page by page. And then when it came to Batman vs. Superman, I just didn't like it. Now, I don't hate all DC movies. I liked Wonder Woman. I loved Aquaman. Wonder Woman 84, it's a movie. I even like part of the Green Lantern movie.
Thank you.
And Shazam, I thought was entertaining. Was it great? I really don't know a lot about Shazam. So my opinion so far in the first hour I got to watch right before the show because I was walking around the house. And there's a very long, it seemed like to me, slow-mo walking in the rain with an umbrella scene. I'm like, this is taking forever. Then there's a scream that just echoes for, it seemed like the first 20 minutes, showing where it echoing across the world. I was like, well, now I know why it's so much longer than the theatrical cut. But I'll give it a watch. I go into almost every movie with positive intentions that the movie will be good. I always hope so. Maybe if I went in with negative outlook, it would be better. But I'll watch it and see if I like it. I might like it. Who knows? I mean, I even sometimes go back and watch a little bit of Superman Returns, and that was a stinker.
It's not one of the Superman has really gotten a number of appearances that don't hold up well, really.
Yeah.
That's true.
Even the Superman 3 and 4, and I'm a hardcore Superman fan.
Oh,
they don't hold up.
My biggest complaint, other than it wasn't Batman versus Superman, but
Man of Steel,
just Man of Steel,
yeah,
was how they portrayed Paul Kent. He just didn't seem to care about anything.
Yeah,
I think with
John Schneider's a far superior.
Oh, John Schneider! Hey,
I love
John
Kevin
Schneider.
Costner. That's what broke my heart.
Yeah, you put John Schneider versus any previous version or future version of Paul Kent. Nah, he's not. They're not going to measure up. He was fantastic.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird movie for me too, because I'm not a huge Russell Crowe fan. And yet he was fantastic.
I liked his scenes. I did.
I loved his
Jor-El.
scenes. Yeah, and I really do like Kevin Costner. Mm-hmm. And then seeing Paul Kent was like, well, why'd you save those children?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they should have died, son.
You realize how inconvenient this is, son?
Yeah. Don't come save me during this tornado, even though you can run faster than people can see. You just stay there. Let me die. I've had enough of this world.
One of my favorite parts of Man of Steel, though, is remember when they used to have the World of Krypton backup stories?
Yes.
When we saw the history of Krypton.
Great stuff.
That Krypton, because the crystalline, icy Krypton, just
not comic book accurate. Yeah.
But that Krypton with the, kind of a throwback, retro sort of technology, but also giant saurians that they're flying around. Yeah. I really like that image and that vision that they had. That version of Krypton that's one of my favorite versions of Krypton on the screen. So
That's true.
You know,
Mine too.
Yeah.
It was a really good alternative to the stuff that was shot inside the back of somebody's freezer units.
with Marlon Brando just reading his lines off of different people and things.
can we talk about the Jor-El curse?
Do what?
Can we talk about the Jor-El curse now?
Let's do that. Let's hear about the Jor-El.
Okay.
We got Jor-El, Marlon Brando, pound for pound, one of our best actors, right? he's a
Lots of pounds.
Definitely
too.
pound for pound. Yeah.
that fellow. Russell Crowe was in Gladiators. He plays Jor-El. Have you
Yeah.
seen Russell lately? Russ,
He's a large man.
That's
he's
true.
become a fairly large man. And every time I see Russell Crowe now, and I see that he's put on quite a bit of weight, I'm like, man, they talk about the Superman curse, and no one mentions the Jor-El curse. That if you play Jor-El,
Yeah.
I haven't taken a look at Terrence Stamp lately. He did
No.
the voice in Smallville.
That's
For Jerome.
right.
That's
He did.
true. He had put on a little bit of weight before.
To Google.
Yeah, holy Google,
So
Batman.
apparently, if you play Jor-El, then you really like donuts afterwards.
I
I don't see a problem here. I don't know. That sounds like a wonderful curse.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, and as opposed to the Superman curse, where it's like,
You
you know,
die.
so and so actor was in this movie and he died of old age. You know, it's like, 100 years from now they'll be talking about everyone in the movie Superman and the Mole Men. They were under the Superman curse because they all died, 100 years later. So after the movie is
Oh,
Hey,
man.
really, for the most part, I'm just happy we have comic book movies.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. And
Especially
I
after
think,
Howard the Duck. Jeez.
whoo,
I loved Howard the Duck. It looked like crap, but I thought it was a fun script.
I will say this though, like it is great the fact that we can as just DC fans. I mean, Marvel's just great, but like just as DC fans, you can have a Superman CW show, which in Superman and Lois, great. I enjoy it a lot. It's a much more positive, fun take on the character. And then you can also have the Henry Cavill version of Superman, which is more, which is darker, which deals with more of a unsurety about it's more human in those ways. I mean, I think Superman's more human in other ways in the CW show, but we can literally have both options. And we can, just be like, hey, cool, you like that? That's great. I like this. Guess what? High five. We're both Team DC. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's great. And now you've got CW, HBO Max, the movie theaters. You have so many different versions of different movies that you can tell now. And let's just all respect that and enjoy it. And I think that's why I'm glad to see, as a creator, I'm glad to see that Snyder got to do this. And as a huge fan of what his vision was, I'm so glad that he was able to do this. So.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because I'm old enough to remember like the first 2 seasons of Super Friends on Saturday morning, where it was not great cartoons, and especially after the Filmation stuff of the mid '60s with Superman and the Justice League and the Flash and Aquaman and all, and that stuff was pretty decent. And most of them were written by the comic writers themselves, like Bob Haney and George Cashton and all. But then you go to the Super Friends the first couple of years, and it's like, it's a comic book cartoon I've got to watch, out of some sort of mistaken sense of loyalty to the franchise. Now, it did get a lot better as it went on, but the first couple of years were pretty painful.
Current DC cartoons, but I guess within the last 10 years, are far superior than anything Marvel puts out. Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, just Flashpoint alone that one's my favorite. Oh my God, it's so good.
If you look, there's a viewing list. I did it last year. You can literally start at Flashpoint and go all the way through to what is it? The last Justice League Dark movie, which the timeline is perfect. I cried at the end of those movies. They were, it's so good, so well told.
Kevin Smith. I'm telling you, Kevin Smith.
The only thing that's missing is me literally lighting up a doobie right on screen. So,
We're not done.
Speaking of animation, last week one of our listeners talked about My Life as a Teenage Robot. And I said, well, what do you like? And he said, well, Life as a Teenage Robot, it's an animated series, and it was really great. Well, I listened for those sorts of things because my kid is old enough that she doesn't watch cartoons anymore. So I don't get to go, I'm watching this because of my kid. And my grandkids are more the age to watch things like Blue's Clues. They're not into older cartoons.
Cocomelon?
Yes. Like Gravity Falls. Never had heard of it.
Yeah, Gravity Falls.
I've heard of it.
I love it. Was so good. So I went and watched most of the first season of My Life as a Teenage Robot. He's right. It's great. And I have my Paramount Plus month-long trial, so I'm going to try to watch all the seasons of it. But just to, thank you for the suggestion, because that helped make my week. That was some good viewing.
There we go. Very good. Bill Sarton has a good question here. Does anyone see Warner Brothers doing a theatrical release of Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I think they've already announced that they are.
Yeah.
Oh, have they? Okay, good.
Yeah, they are going to do it. That's why it was filmed in IMAX, so that it could eventually go to theaters. They were just going to release it on HBO Max first.
Nice. Okay, cool. See, I learned stuff too. Dave Rediger, good to see you here tonight, sir. When I shared photos of my latest road trip to Metropolis, I was shocked when I was immediately trolled by my own family. Folks that I didn't even know cared about comics. One member even commented, "Boo Superman." I'd be like suing them. I guess I did open it up to discussion when I captioned the photo as "Today I taught the kids a little bit about America's greatest superhero." That makes you dad of the century, dude.
Yeah.
And was that a wrong statement? Is this still the same world where a man can raise his child to believe that Superman is still the greatest example of wholesomeness and honor? Nothing wrong with that at all, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Trevor Hawkins has a thing. Should I let the bus of kids die? Maybe.
You never know.
Yeah. It's like, do I have time? Is it convenient?
Depends on which kids are on the bus. Let's be honest.
Well, that's true. Some are nicer than others. You raise a valid point. Or has the Batman's better people finally won? All joking aside, what can be done to restore society's appreciation for Superman? I feel America could really use his positivity.
I think people have gone more to Captain America for that now because of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
But I think they're the same coin, different sides of the same coin. I think the things that you would find Captain America standing for in the Marvel movies, that's what Superman traditionally does too.
Yeah.
And Captain America, he represents kind of a combination of the allure of Batman and the allure of Superman, because he's definitely about doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's hard and even if it's inconvenient, he does the right thing. He is not the strongest character in the Marvel Universe. When you get into cosmic heroes, definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, Thor, the legendary god of thunder, says, if Captain America led the charge, I would go against the gates of hell. And because of his honor and his truth. So yeah, I agree. I think Captain America is a really good model for that right now.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that would help Superman restore his position as number one superhero is if he would, sweet God in heaven, finally get a movie script that did him true honor. I mean, Superman the movie is a terrific movie by a lot of standards. I still think it's iconic, but by the same token, there are parts where it can't decide whether it wants to be an epic story of drama and internal conflict, or whether it wants to be vaudeville. So,
there's one major problem with Superman overall as a character. He's just too overpowered.
But
he doesn't. No one can really beat him. Come on, they made Doomsday created just to kill him. But really, I mean, he's more powerful than everybody, and that's what they have a hard time with on screen, trying to find someone for him to fight. I mean, in the Christopher Reeve movies, the first one, he never fought anyone.
Yeah.
Superman Returns, he didn't really fight anyone. Because as soon as he punches a criminal, they're dead.
Yeah, I think that's... Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I was going to say he finally got a chance to fight people in Man of Steel, and that was very good superheroic type fight. But then the fight just went on and on and on and on. So anyway, Brian, thank you.
Well, I was going to go to Man of Steel as well. I think what and I think it might be a generational thing, and I think it just might also be our differences. But Man of Steel really was to me. It was the ultimate Superman movie. I think because it didn't just portray him as someone who had it all figured out from the get-go. Man of Steel is about him becoming Superman. It's about him learning what to do and again, coming back to this, who he is. And who Jor-El says he should be versus who Jonathan Kent has said he should be, and versus who he is becoming. And I think that that's just a great way to take that character and put him through an emotional journey that we can relate to. And I mean, like I said, I've heard, I think the tornado scene is the worst part of the whole movie. I don't understand why they didn't keep the heart attack in. I think that is one of the most moving things to watch is to watch Clark Kent, who can do anything, right? Can't save his dad from dying from a heart attack. Yeah. And that is one of the most crushing scenes to watch.
Yeah. He can save him from a tornado. But he can't save him from a heart attack.
I rewatched it today, and I used to feel the same way about Jonathan Kent and Man of Steel. Like I liked him still, but there were times where I'm like, really? Like you're questioning about the bus full of kids? Like what's happening? And I kind of hit it on another level today. I don't know if it was the coffee that I was drinking or what, but like as he was saying it, you could tell he was just wrestling with what the right thing to do is. you could tell that he was really wrestling with like what the right thing to do is, which would be save the kids. Yeah. But then you could also see him wrestling with he wants to protect his son. And you can really see that in that scene if you're looking for it. And that's why I like Snyder so much, because now it's not always a good thing to have that subtle of a storytelling going on, because that's not for everybody. Like some people don't like that. They don't want to do that the whole time. But I think Snyder does that very well. So if you're looking for that kind of storytelling, he's perfect for you. But like I think in rewatching Man of Steel today, there's just a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of psychological stuff in there that I think for me makes that movie so great.
And how many, and I can relate to that movie also on one level. How many of us have snapped the neck of somebody on our first day at the job? Okay, is it just time. Me? But
every
anyway,
time.
I have actually grabbed someone by the throat and threw him up against a warehouse bin.
I can say with all honesty, I held a human heart in my hand the first day of my job.
And that's perfectly understandable. HR will allow that. Shaggy Courtney says, sounds like I should play Jor-El. That is uncanny casting, Shaggy. I would agree with you. And Brian Hawkins says, well, the Jor-El and Superman and Lois has already been in the donuts. John Celestri says, I have never accepted Superman levitating instead of leaping over tall buildings. That means I didn't accept Superman's flying since Christopher Reeve. What he does actually is he grabs the back of his trunks and he pulls himself up in the air. I think that makes more sense.
It's a super wedgie. There you go.
It's a super wedgie. That's that's why he has a spit curl too. Ken Bailey says, have anyone who questions Superman as the greatest of all Red Kingdom come says it all? I gotta be with you on that one. Bill Sarden says, with the cynicism in the world today, everyone yearns to live in Superman's world, but sadly deserves Batman instead. Wow. And John Celestri says, old school Superman 1940 cartoons is the best rendition, and Superman is a human.
I love the Max Fleischer cartoons. They're so good. Yeah. So good.
I still remember the first time I saw them was any of them was the Japateurs. not a real popular phrase nowadays, but
Can you say that nowadays? I don't think.
No,
I don't.
You're gonna get us
I'm
banned.
only
This
quoting
is
history,
a
and we do
family show,
apologize
sir.
for that. We apologize for that. It was from a time when we were less enlightened, but I got to see it on a large screen at a comic book
Oh,
convention
that's
in
cool.
Indianapolis, and I had only heard about them at that point, and it was a beautiful print and in full color. And my jaw was in my lap the whole time. And I thought, man, if it doesn't get any better than this. And then Batman the Animated Series came out, and I had to eat my words a little bit. Shaggy Corey says, Rodman, that hero versus parent thing is a big point that Michael Watson really pushes. Michael Watson does a show called Chat and Draw. That's really good. So, I can see that. I remember you guys had a big debate on that one time.
Yeah, rewatch that and tell me what you think with that in mind.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a very good point. And and report to HR immediately. Boy, how do you can see a rut from my office all the way to the HR office. That's true. And oh boy, we made it to 4 issues. Now we're canceled. Way to go, Brian. Welcome to the mini series. I am reporting from a historical perspective. Shut up. Anyway, that's our that's our point. It was a lesson line time, and we know better now. So there.
Yeah. Don't say those things to people now. That's
right,
a bad idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if it had come out of the blue, it would have been a bad idea. But anyway, But that's something. We've had this discussion before in many venues that comics have a lot to apologize for.
Humanity. Let's just say humanity has a lot to apologize for, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
When I think of Fleischer cartoons now, what I think of is the beginning scenes of Sky Captain in the world of
Tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
The robots coming in.
That's
Great out of
Absolutely, yeah.
Superman.
I was like, are they going to crash in a jewelry store and steal jewels?
Yeah.
And what's going on there?
I stopped the DVD and went and found the Fleischer cartoons because I'm like, just how close are they? Pretty close. This is
Spot on. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Trevor Hawkins says, as far as the Man of Steel, why Martha didn't elbow Clark and say, go save him. We'll deal with it at dinner. There you go. And Bill Sargent says, stay tuned next week on Comic Spectrum Underground Edition. Well, we could do stuff on Fritz the Cat and the Furry Freak Brothers and all that, too.
I got some early 90s comics that I picked up at the shop that were kind of a little... I wouldn't pick them up nowadays.
Yeah.
They're basically very adult-oriented.
I would imagine. Yes, Clyde.
Scimitar.
I love Scimitar. And I'm friends with Rob Davis, who drew the original. In fact, I own some pages from that.
Oh,
some original art pages. The ones with Hugh Hefner.
When you said that the other day, my ears went, what? I hadn't thought of that title in a long time, but yeah, it's really
God,
cool.
Yeah. That was a wonderful strip from I want to say Malibu, was it?
I think that's right.
It was one of the Rosenberg comic groups, but she was basically an assassin for hire sort of thing, but it was a very adult comic book written by R.A. Jones and beautifully illustrated by Rob Davis, who
she had empathic powers.
Yes, that's right. She was empathic and took off her clothes a lot too. You can tell what Clyde remembers and what I tend to remember about the strip. So probably speaks volumes about both of us. So, and Bill Sargent says, I'll loan you my R. Crumb comics for next week. Brother, I got my own, man. And I got Gilbert Shelton, and I've got all those. I collected the Undergrounds back in the day.
It's funny. We talked about Fritz the Cat. I watched Fire and Ice yesterday.
Oh yeah,
such a good movie, man. So good.
Had you seen it before?
I had. It's just been a long time. I'm actually going to start going through all of his movies because a lot of them I have not seen. I mean, a lot of them are rated R and absolutely should be, but yeah, I think I'm going to go through some of them until my conscience is like, hey, you should just stop that and go jump off the cliff.
Yeah,
but
there's a few of them going to make you want to, think.
A few of them I won't be watching, but I do want to watch some of them, especially Wizards and Wizards and Fire and Ice and oh gosh, the Lord of the Rings movies and stuff. That's so good.
Yes.
So
That's
good.
good stuff. I saw Wizards in the theater, and I was
nice.
knocked out by it. And I remember going with some friends, and we were real excited because we sat through the trailers,
Mhm.
and there was this movie coming out that summer called Star Wars that we thought, that looks pretty good. So, what did we know? We were young. Anyway,
Right, yeah. Young and naive. Look at that.
that's right. So we have run long, but it was natural. It felt good. So if you've abandoned us for Amy Hill, we fully understand that. We do urge you to go there next. But I think it's a good place to wrap this week's edition up. So let's go round the room. We'll start with Clyde, then Eric, then Brian. And please tell everyone who you are and where they can follow your awesomeness. All right.
Okay.
Clyde, take it away.
I'm Clyde Hall, and you can follow me on Facebook at Clyde Hall. But I also have a Facebook group page now, Radiating Positive Vibes with author Clyde Hall. And I'm going to start posting, I think, if it's all right with the rest of these guys, I'm going to start posting the written out version of my reviews over there.
Do it.
So there you go.
Excellent. And now the one, the only Mr. Eric Hawkins.
You can find me on Twitter, ES_Hawkins. You can find me on Facebook. Just look up Eric Hawkins, Eric S. Hawkins, Stone Door Studios, Zombie World of Oz. There's pages for all. But every Thursday night, about an hour after this show ends, I usually do a drawing show on another channel. You can look it up by finding Drawn and Quarter Fan Edition. Tonight, we're doing Schneider cut, so we're going to be doing Justice League characters. It's a 2-hour drawing competition, but fair warning, it is not a children's show. We are rude, we are crude, we're not politically correct in any way, form, or fashion, so it might turn some people off, just so you know. If you tune in and go, oh my god, what is wrong with these people?
Well, given this show,
I'm going to draw Superman tonight.
Ooh,
I think that's a pose I'm going to use too. I've been playing with him. That's the McFarlane Superman.
Oh, you can bend him.
Ooh.
He's a bendy Superman.
That sounds kinky. Anyway, Brian Rodman, tell the people how to stay in touch with you.
Oh, hey, everybody. Again, I'm BrianRodman.com, author and illustrator of the Memoirs of an Angel horror fantasy comic book series that is live now on Kickstarter, issue 7, until next Friday. So go right here and see what we've got for you. Otherwise, you can go to BrianRodman.com. You can go access all my social media stuff from there. And I am also 1/3 of the Dastardly Dingoes podcast, a show about all things nerdy. We discuss nerd news, movies, TV shows, games, comics, and interview the amazing creators who bring it all to life. Let's get nerdy on YouTube. Go there and watch it and subscribe. And that's all for me. Thanks for having me.
All right, excellent. And I do want to congratulate the Dastardly Dingoes YouTube channel for passing up 1,000 subscriptions just today. Well done, young man. Well done. Please be the 1,000 first. All right. And
too late. We're already heading on to 1,500.
Okay, screw it. Ignore them. Get them up to 2,000. Really make it profitable here.
Super chats.
Woohoo!
Oh yeah. Why do you think I want to get to 1,000? But anyway,
you want your comment read, you're gonna pay.
Right. And no one needs that more than me. No more comment dumps, okay? And Cindy Kemp says, thanks for playing. Y'all did good. So did you, Cindy. CKOEPV.com. Sign for a free monthly newsletter. And D&Q Ultimate Edition is PG-13, but a good time, says Brian Hawkins. And woot, Brian Rodman. All right.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, darling. Appreciate it. And I want to thank my co-hosts here. Thank you all, guys, as usual. And we'll see you next week for more reviews and stuff. And so I'm going to take the spotlight here and we'll close out the show for this week. And thank you to my wonderful panel, Brian Rodman, Clyde Hall, and Eric Hawkins, for their amazing commentary and reviews. And I hope you enjoyed it, folks. Thank you very much for being here. And as far as me, you can follow me on Facebook. I am there. I've also got the Rising Tide Publications page on Facebook, the Rising Tide broadcast network, which we hope you will follow. Amy Hale is on right now. Please check out her amazing show, Creative as Hale. She's got Christian Basil on there. I'm going to run over there and see if I can call the fire department or whatever. And but anyway, check us out. We've got entertainment 7 days a week. All kinds of topics covered, a lot of variety. So please check us out. And we do want to thank also our Patreon subscribers, without whom we would have a hard time staying on the air, but thanks to them, we've been able to get some computer repairs done and some other wonderful things happening here that keeps this show looking good and on the air. So thank you to our Patreon subscribers. And if you'd like to become one of them, please go to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. $1 will get you something. So please check out our tier levels. Also, I can be found on Amazon, where I have books like Sanderson, the original Skyman, Battles of the Master of Steam, Conflict, and other wonderful books with more to come. And also, you can find me at risingtide.pub, where you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter. The next issue goes out April 1st. It's going to be a great, great issue. As always, we have unique videos and stuff that you will see only there, and it'll keep you up on all of our mischief that we've got going. Also, if you're watching us on Facebook, please, if you've enjoyed any part of this show, please like this video and share it with your friends, your comic-loving friends. And also, please like the page you're watching it on if you can, because it's a great thank you to the people who are hosting us, all right? And if you're watching us on YouTube, please give this a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and we hope you have. Also, please subscribe. We are well on our way to 1,000 people. We're trying to catch up to Brian here, and look forward to the day when we are breathing the same sweet air of over 1,000 people, so that we can spread the message of what we do around here, which is Rising Tide. And anyway, thank you all for being here. And programming notes, like I said, Amy Hale, Creative as Hale, with John Hale and Christian Basil, is on right now. Check out author Amy Hale's YouTube channel. And Stupid O'Clock is canceled for tonight due to Joe Dog not feeling well today, but tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. we will return with Never Mind the Furthermore, and tomorrow night 7 p.m. Michaela Jade's Tidbits and Scribbles, also Uncle Carl's Green Room on Uncle Carl's secret humor page, which isn't much of a secret, but anyway. Also, at 8 p.m. the Historical Fencing Guild with Nicholas Tockard will teach you how to murder each other safely with bladed weaponry, so please tune in for that. And more stuff on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Please give that page a like if you would, please. And thank you, as always, to PlasmaFireGraphics.com. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, it matters to your readers. So check out what Jeffrey Hayes can do for you, and do it so darned well. And thank you to the Rising Tide Broadcast Network for powering this show. And so, as always, folks, thank you for watching. We'll be back next week with another issue of Comic Book Spectrum, with more reviews and more discussion. And we hope you all have a great rest of your day. Please share this video again, if you would, please. And as always, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great one, everyone, and take care. From Comic Book Spectrum.
From author Brian K. Morris comes a classic hero in a high-flying, fast-paced, and action-packed steampunk adventure. The original Skyman battles the Master of Steam, with an introduction by comics icon and historian Roy Thomas. A Rising Tide and Ace Comics publication. Available now in print or digital format on Amazon.com.
Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum. a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Please join us next week for another look at comics, past, present, and future. If you enjoyed this, please give the show a like and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To receive our free monthly newsletter, go to www.risingtide.pub and be sure to give the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook a like in order to receive news about upcoming shows including Clever Title Pending, Stupid O'Clock, Clever as Hail, Comics Chaos and Sass, Tidbits and Scribbles, the Historical Fencing Guild, and never mind the Furthermore. See you next week.